My name is Alice Wairimu Nderitu, and I'm a peace builder, and I'm a mediator and a human rights educator of many years standing. I've been one of the women in the world who has their signatures on peace agreements as a mediator of armed conflict, which is rare and which should not be rare. I now work for Aegis Trust. So I'm the global president of the Isoko Center for Humanity. Isoko, that means source, and Center for Humanity, we know how significant that is in the African context in terms of Ubuntu, Utu in Kiswahili. The Isoko Center for Humanity seeks to translate the knowledge generated by Aegis Trust for more than 25 years, and the Kigali Genocide Memorial into teachable material that we can then use to not only warn the world when genocides are imminent, but also what to do about preventing those genocides, and also how to respond if a genocide is already happening. Aegis Trust, has this wonderful story of the Smith family, the Methodist family, who went to visit Israel and went to Yad Vashem. James and Stephen were asking their parents, how is it that in the UK we do not have a Holocaust museum? And so they ended up setting up a Holocaust museum in their own home, now the National Holocaust Museum. And at the same time when this was happening, genocide was happening against the Tutsi in Rwanda in 1994. Another genocide was happening in Srebrenica in 1995. And so again, these two brothers worked together with the government of Rwanda to build the Kigali Genocide Memorial, from where I'm speaking today. Their story, the story of how the Kigali Genocide Memorial came to be, including the story of people like Freddie Mutanguha, the current CEO, people who've been here from the very beginning, collecting testimonies from victims and now becoming the custodians of a country's history. It was all very appealing to me. I worked very closely with Aegis Trust when I was the Under Secretary General and Special Advisor for Prevention of Genocide. We had an MOU. We put together several policy documents. We had workshops here in Kigali, bringing together experts from all over the world. But over and above that, I had another relationship with the Kigali Genocide Memorial, because I came to Rwanda not long after the genocide had happened against the Tutsi. And I was here when things were very raw. And I used to come to the Kigali Genocide Memorial as soon as it came up. And I have, in the course of my work in many places around the world, brought many people here to the Kigali Genocide Memorial, including 230 Kenyan teachers, script writers, English teachers who came here to learn from the history of what happened here, the early warning signs for genocide. I knew that there was a community here at the Kigali Genocide Memorial that ran this Kigali Genocide Memorial, and that was determined to teach the world, like, we just want you to know that what happened to us should not happen to anyone else. Some of the challenges are old, like we've had them for a long time. Women's exclusion, for example, in decision-making spaces in terms of peace processes continues to be a big problem, despite the fact of the 1325 resolution that ushered in all this new thinking or these new discussions about how women could be included as mediators, as negotiators. We're still seeing today peace being negotiated without women. And women are 50% of the population. How you can make decisions for people without them at the table remains deeply disturbing. And then some of the other challenges are as old as humankind. So we have the hate speech, polarization, identity politics. We have people mobilizing against each other on the basis of ethnicity, on the basis of race, on the basis of religion. We have an increase in nationalism that has come up, people taking very, very strong positions against each other, a very clear divide between us and them. We have, of course, peace negotiations becoming really difficult because wars have become so fragmented. So we have lots of militias, we have extremists, people with whom it's difficult to construct a peace agreement that covers a wider conflict. We have so many refugees, and we have the whole aspect of wars becoming impersonal, where our new challenges now become that you can fight a war with a drone. So you actually don't see the person you are killing. So the guilt element then is not there. We've seen the devaluing of peace and of peace builders. We've seen peace processes in which peace builders are not involved, and so therefore the concern is in terms of how sustainable will these peace processes be. We have countries committing huge budgets to buying weapons, to defense, rather than to prevention, rather than to peace building. And so we are in this space. We are in a very liminal moment where we do know that we are witnessing like changes in the world. This huge leap in technology that we can see, for example, in the kind of modern weaponry that's being produced has not translated to a huge change in terms of modernizing peace building. I would say for peace builders, peace builders are very resilient people. Peace builders, they hang in there, they keep doing whatever it is that they need to do. Peace building is a calling. It's not something that you can do and then stop doing. We will look into ourselves and into this world we now live in and find new ways of doing things, reinvent ourselves, retool ourselves to ensure that we get into these spaces, and ensure that we end wars as we've been doing before. At the same time, we will build on what we know, because our foundation of peace building is very, very strong. We do know a lot more than many people in terms of what practically works. We have the experience of understanding what a society without peace looks like and what we can do to make the society better. We need to address some of the issues I've raised one by one. We still need to continue working on exclusion of women, exclusion of youth, especially when youth are determining so much in terms of technology, in terms of social media. We really need to speak to the fact of their exclusion. Right now, Ukraine and Gaza, they have been the big issues. Yet so many conflicts, violent conflicts are happening in the world. Violent conflicts that need peace builders are happening globally that need to be addressed. So we will keep focusing on every conflict in the world, regardless of whether it's considered newsworthy or not. We will also keep looking out for IDPs and refugees and teaching them peace building skills and teaching them that they have the agency to do something about their situation. This is a moment for peace builders that calls upon us as peace builders to look into what we know and see what it is we can apply to current conflicts, while at the same time taking cognizance of the fact that peace has lost its currency among many people, that it's become so difficult to discuss peace when people have taken such strong positions against each other, when there are such strong divisions in society, and yet we must keep doing what we know how to do, which is to build peace. Just like the National Holocaust Museum set up by the Smith brothers, the Smith family, who then proceeded to set up this organization called Aegis Trust, and at the same time to build the Kigali Genocide Memorial. I'm so sure that the Isoko Center for Humanity, which I am now privileged to head, will be a success. Aegis has always spoken for people who society considers do not have a voice, and Aegis has always given that voice to those people to speak for themselves. I marvel at how many people come to the Kigali Genocide Memorial. The other day, just this past week, 1,000 people walked in through the doors in one day to come and learn, to come and understand what it is they can do to improve their lives. So to those of you who support Aegis, I want to say thank you. And I want to say to you that that support is invaluable, that that support is impactful, and that that support is needed in so many ways, in terms of resources, in terms of support for the Aegis itself, capacity building, whatever kind of support that you feel that you need to give Aegis, that Aegis will put it to extremely good use, and you will see the results. We are planning to build the Isoko Center for Humanity in Bugesera, here in Rwanda. Bugesera is a place where during the genocide, many victims were buried. Many victims drowned in the rivers in Bugesera. Many victims drowned in the swamps in Bugesera, to the extent that we don't even know how many people died in the rivers and in the swamps. And so for us to build the Isoko Center for Humanity in Bugesera, we are saying that we, on what was a graveyard, we are building a source of knowledge. And this source of knowledge is going to speak to specific functions. So one of which is peace education, and the other atrocity crimes, prevention, genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. The other one will be a space in which we heal peace builders, a space where peace builders who need to recharge their batteries can come and reflect and gain new networks that Aegis will provide. Here at the Kigali Genocide Memorial, we have a museum that speaks to the past, but in Isoko, we will have the Museum of the Future, a museum that will speak to transitional justice, what happens when countries emerge out of conflict, what happens when countries emerge out of genocide, how do they reinvent, how do they grow. It will be giving hope to the world that indeed, that even after a genocide like what happened, like the one that happened here in Rwanda against the Tutsi, that a society can actually reconstruct and move on.